Buenos dias and good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining our Joint Crediting Mechanism webinar. I'm your host, Risa Kikuchi from Global Environment Center Foundation. This year's theme for our JCM webinars is accelerating the transition towards decarbonization through JCM. And we're happy to hold another JCM webinar for Chile today. I am also very happy to be here personally as a former resident of Santiago de Chile. Okay, let me begin with some announcements for the audience. To listen to the simultaneous interpretation in Spanish and English, please use the interpretation option located on the menu bar at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you wish not to hear any interpretation, select off. By selecting mute original audio, when you use the interpreter channel, you can choose to only hear the interpreter's voice. We will be holding Q&A after each session in this webinar. Please submit your questions through the Q&A feature. For each of your questions, please write it in English. And remember to write the name of the speaker that your question is directed to, so we will know who to address. Lastly, when you exit the webinar, a questionnaire about today's webinar will appear on your screen. We'd like to ask you to take a moment to respond it, as it would greatly help us to improve our future webinars. Your feedback is very important to us. Without further ado, let's move right on to the first session, the opening remarks. We would like to welcome Ms. Jenny Macher, Head of the Climate Change Department of Ministry of Environment of Chile. Ms. Macher, you have the floor.
Muchas gracias. Buenos días a todos y buenas noches a
Good morning to everyone. Good evening to everyone in Japan. We're in a new webinar with a new event that celebrates this agreement that we have between Chile and Japan that was signed in 2015 and that intends, as said before, to contribute to our economy's growing. Chile has worked on the climate agenda as a priority, not only internationally, but also in the production of national policies. This is why in June this year, we published the climate change law that has as a main purpose to reach emissions neutrality for greenhouse gases and increase the resilience of our country in year 2050, the latest. This is a sample that for Chile, climate action is a state policy. It's centered on scientific evidence and intends to contribute to global goals in the framework, according to the Framework Convention of the United Nations of Climate Change. It also intends to be an articulator for the transformation of the economic model, transiting towards caring for the ecology and the quality of life of people. This we can't accomplish without the constant support of the private sector. We can't do public policy without the constant participation of the private sector. So this is why the agreement that we have with Japan and our participation in the joint credit mechanism is for us one of the clear examples on how the bilateral cooperation can provide and contribute to the decarbonization of our country. This was signed on May 26, 2015 to reach low emissions economies, but through the investment in projects and technology transfer specifically. The JCM is framed in the mechanisms that Chile has to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. In this case, it's considered an attractive alternative so that the private sector nationally can conduct emissions reduction activities and can support the economic growth of Chile, making it compatible with the need to take care of our environment. For the implementation of this agreement, we established a joint committee, the National Joint Committee, to produce methodological guides for the application, as well as approving the projects that postulate the mechanism and the assignation of carbon credits that correspond. This committee is formed by the ministries of Foreign Relations, Environment, and Energy here in Chile. It's a pleasure for me to open this webinar and leave you in company of the experts that will present the advances and the projects that we have here in Chile. And I am at your service if you have any questions about the involvement of the Environment Ministry in this type of policies. As I said, the implementation of the Agreement of Paris passes not only through the commitment of having ambitious goals, but also implementing actions that specifically can reduce emissions. And JCM, as I said before, is one of these examples. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Mager. Thank you. So now we would like to welcome Mr. Takayuki Shigematsu,
Gracias, señorita Gamer. Y ahora vamos
Planning
a recibir
Officer
al
for the
señor
Joint
Takayuki
Crediting
Shigematsu.
Mechanism from Office of Director for International Cooperation for Transition to Decarbonization and Sustainable Infrastructure of Global Environment Bureau of the Ministry of the Environment of Japan. Mr. Shigematsu, you have the floor.
Thank you for introducing me. Hello, everyone. Konbanwa. Buenos dias in Chile and good evening in Japan. Thanks for opening remarks, Ms. Jenny Mager. I'm Takayuki Shigematsu from Ministry of the Environment Japan, working for the Article 6 negotiation and JCM implementation. In the COP26 last November, we completed the Paris rulebook, including the market mechanism rules of the Article 6. Long experience of joint crediting mechanism, JCM, contributed to the negotiation. Now we are shifting to the implementation stage of Article 6. Proper and robust implementation of Article 6 has a potential to develop high integrity carbon market. Japan is aiming to launch the Article 6 implementation partnership at COP27, and we will also work closely with other countries and the international organization leading to effective implementation of Article 6. In addition, JCM under the Article 6 of the Paris Rulebook facilitate the investment of decarbonizing, effectively contributes to the GHG emission reduction of removals and the sustainable development in partner countries. At the same time, this also contributes to the achievement of NDC Japan and Chile, respectively. We aim to contribute to international emission reduction and removals at a level of cumulative total of approximately 100 million ton CO2 by fiscal year by 2030. It is not an easy goal, but I'm sure that we can learn the best practices together today. I hope that today's seminar is fruitful and useful for participants, and many countries and organizations are interested in the JCM scheme in Chile. By collaboration between private sector and public sector, we would like to contribute to the achievement of both countries' NDC. I hope this seminar will help better understanding of JCM, and I would like to conclude my remarks by wishing this seminar a great success by providing beneficial information and generating innovative discussion for all the participants toward the future in the JCM for Chile. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shigematsu. Thank you both for the opening remarks. We will now move on to session 2, entitled Information Sharing on the JCM Progress. We would like to once again have Mr. Shigematsu to be back on the screen to give us a presentation on Japan's policy for carbon neutrality and the role of JCM. Mr. Shigematsu, you have the floor again.
Yes, thank you so much. Please share the screen. Yes. Okay, I'll start my presentation. Hello, all the participants. I'm Takayuki Shigematsu from Ministry of Environment, working for Article 6 issues and implementation of the JCM. I would like to express my great appreciation for the participants for this seminar. Today, I would like to introduce Japan's policy for carbon neutrality and the role of JCM, which is Joint Crediting Mechanism. Next slide, please. I will start my presentation with introducing GHG emission target in Japan. In 2021, Japan submitted the updated NDC, Nationally Determined Contribution, which aims to reduce its greenhouse gas emission by 26% in fiscal year 2030 from its 2013 level, setting an ambitious target which is aligned with the long-term goal of net zero by 2050. Sorry. JCM has also set the target for new midterm target, and that is 1 million tons of CO2 reduction cumulatively by 2030. Next slide, please. Under JCM, we have partnered with 24 countries and have implemented more than 200 projects and supports the introduction of decarbonization technology in partner countries and support the reduction of carbon dioxide in partner countries. Now we have set up 2 numerical targets for JCM. The first one is to reduce 100 million tons of CO2 worldwide by 2030, and which was mentioned in the cabinet decision in 2021. The second is to increase the number of partner countries up to 30 by 2025 in order to further expand JCM. In this way, the government of Japan is making great efforts toward the further expansion of JCM. Next slide, please. Okay, currently we have 24 JCM partner countries listed in the slide and expanding to 30 by around 2025. After August of this year, 7 new countries, which is Senegal, Tunisia, Azerbaijan, Moldova, Georgia, Sri Lanka, and Uzbekistan were added as a new partner for JCM. Next slide, please. Okay, this slide shows the distribution of JCM financing program provided by Japanese government. It is estimated that approximately 200 projects to be made within this year, and the total cumulative GHG emission by 2030 will be around 20 million tons of CO2. In Chile, you can see in the right part, there are ongoing 11 projects, 10 solar power project, and 1 biomass power project, which utilizes agricultural residues such as rice husk. Next slide, please. Okay, this slide introduces the example of the project which Japan has supported through the financing program as JCM model project. The major decarbonizing technology applied by JCM projects are renewable energy, including solar, hydro, and geothermal power, and energy efficiency both in industrial and customer sector. However, together with the expansion on the development of the JCM, there has been emerging other areas such as waste to energy, power generation from biomass, and transport. Next slide, please. So this slide shows the percentage of JCM projects that have been implemented so far by category. As you can see, approximately half of the projects are related to renewable energy, such as solar power generation, wind power, small hydro power, followed by energy efficiency project targeting boilers and air conditioners, which account for about 40% of the total project. So next slide, please. So this shows the scheme of subsidies for JCM by Ministry of the Environment. This year's total budget for this model project about 160 million US dollar, and we are supporting up to half of the investment cost at the JCM model project. For implementing a project, international consortium should be created to support the organization. The consortium is subject to the inclusion of the Japanese company to apply this model project. So next slide, please. I'm going to briefly touch upon the recent development of JCM in Chile. Currently, there are 11 JCM model projects in Chile, together with 3 new projects newly selected in this fiscal year of 2022. Solar power projects account for the largest proportion, which is 10 out of the total 11 projects. From these 11 projects, the cumulative emission reduction until 2030 from these projects is estimated about 620,000 tons of CO2. So next slide, please. So in the last slide, I'm going to briefly touch upon the Japanese government, that the Japanese government provides the various support for JCM implementation, from capacity building to monitor and evaluation of the project. In particular, for project development, the government holds a seminar and workshop, including the targeting at the private sector, and also operates a business matching website called JCM Global Match. For relevant information, please refer to the website Carbon Market Express, which provides a variety of information related to JCM. So next slide, please. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your kind attention. We would like to take further steps for the achieve the decarbonization in Chile and Japan. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shigematsu. Thank you. So the next presenter seems to be a little bit delayed. So we would like to change the order, and we would like to welcome Mr. Hiroshi Takahashi, Director of the Financing Program Group of Global Environment Center Foundation. He will be making a presentation on financing program for JCM model projects. Mr. Takahashi, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you for your kind introduction. I think that my screen is shared, right?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so just a moment, please. All right, let me start. Okay, buenos días. Good morning. My name is Hiroshi Takahashi of Global Environmental Center Foundation, or GEC. I would like to express my gratitude for this opportunity and extend a warm welcome to all the participants here today. As an implementing organization for financing program of JCM project, we make effort to complete each project to start their operation and contribute to the pressing issue of global warming. I am willing to talk about outline of the model project and refer some key points for the project and the trend of JCM model project. I hope my presentation will be helpful for all of you having interest in the JCM. This is agenda of my presentation, which covers these items. I welcome your comment or question afterward. Then I'll start from JCM model project overview. JCM model project started in 2013. Chile signed bilateral cooperation for the low carbon partnership between Japan and joined the JCM on May 26th in 2015. Then the model project have been stacking up in Chile. This world map shows all the projects supported by JCM financing program. So I think that you could see the similar one by Shigematsu-san of Ministry of Environment Japan. So for me, this part I will refer is JCM model project, which reduces greenhouse gas emission by utilizing leading decarbonizing technology in partner countries, which count 211. So till now, all the project of JCM financing program is 223. Among them, JCM model project dominates the number. From the beginning of opening year of 2013, JCM model project has been stacking up the number of projects every year. This figure gives you overview of the number of projects from back to front is by year, and horizontally, partner countries are in line. This includes selection of this year till now, which will pile up more toward the end of this fiscal year. Chile has been constantly adding the number of selection recent years, which shows close relationship between Chile and Japan. This is the same slide as Mr. Shigematsu, so I will skip it. And also this one. I add newly joined JCM partner countries flags. Those are Senegal, Tunisia, Azerbaijan, Moldova, Georgia, Sri Lanka, and Uzbekistan. So 24 countries have joined as JCM partner countries now. This figure shows the scheme of the financing program for the JCM project. We GEC is an implementing organization who undertakes the administrative work for the JCM model project. Selected project will be able to receive financial support on the facilities or equipment with advanced decarbonizing technology for the reduction of greenhouse gas emission. The point of this scheme is to utilize finance for advanced technology and products. The finance is to be used for equipment or facility which is not yet popular in partner country due to being costly, even though it has great capability and performance to reduce emission of greenhouse gas effectively. The left part of this figure shows a conventional system or project usually focusing on minimizing initial cost and does not care much for greenhouse gas emission reduction. On the other hand, the right part, JCM model project focuses on introduction of the system that contribute to reduction of greenhouse gas emission. It finances initial cost of equipment to be competitive with referenced conventional system. So using this scheme, they can introduce system both cost advantageous and eco-friendly. The emission reduction you make will be monitored, reported, and validated, and credit is issued, which will be shared between partner country and Japan. This shows the development step of JCM model project. When developing a project, what you do first is to find a Japanese partner to cooperate with. Next presentation of JCM Global Match will be helpful for the matchmaking. Proposals can be submitted by the Japanese participant. GEC assesses and evaluates each proposed project and select project. Then they proceed to contract of finance and they are able to start their project. This is the timeline of the model project for this fiscal year, started in this April. We accept proposals till end of November. We are receiving many excellent proposals, and on June 1st, we announced the result of the first selection, and on August 9th, announced the second, and September 29th, announced the third selection. So 24 partner countries have priority for the selection, but we also accept proposals for other countries who intend to join the JCM in parallel with the bilateral negotiations. This is the outline of JCM model project. Budget is 17.1 billion yen. The maximum amount of financial support per project is 2 billion Japanese yen. I will touch upon international consortium by next slide. Scope of financing is for facilities, equipment, which reduces carbon dioxide from fossil fuel consumption, and related construction cost. The selected project start from the date of notice of contract of financial support, and they need to finish installation within 3 years. About maximum percentage of support and cost effectiveness, I will refer a bit later. This figure shows a typical form of international consortium. A representative participant need to be a Japanese entity, and at least one partner participant will be a partner country's entity. Project participants are responsible for the project totally. Partner participant must own and use equipment introduced by the model project. Those equipment need to be properly operated and maintained for greenhouse gas emission reduction activity throughout the period of credit issue. Then, what kind of projects are supported by the JCM financing program? It is described in guidelines for submitting proposals, and please refer it in details. Some key points are as follows. Project must reduce energy-related carbon dioxide emission by leading decarbonizing technologies. Project contribute to realization of SDGs in partner country and comply with the relevant laws and regulations and international practices. Achieved reduction of greenhouse gas emission must be measured and quantitatively calculated and verified for issuing JCM credit. Project need to reduce emission of greenhouse gas and those must include reduction of energy-related carbon dioxide emissions. Or in instance, a project that reduces only CH4 methane, SF6, perfluorocarbon, hydrofluorocarbon, N2O is not adequate as a model project. This figure shows that methane is burned and disappear. However, at this point, it is not good enough to be a model project. For example, a boiler makes steam by the heat generated by burning methane. The steam will then be used rotating a turbine to generate electricity. And if it replaces grid power, then it could reduce consumption of electricity from burning fossil fuel, the source of carbon dioxide. This is the process that we could make a project. The model project should contribute to this sustainable development for the partner country. We review projects as they contribute to sustainable development goals. JCM model project reduces greenhouse gas emission, so basically work and good for SDGs and contribute to sustainable society. This is an example as a possible contribution of renewable energy project to SDGs for your reference. One of the main purpose of JCM is to issuing JCM credit. For the credit, first thing you do after implementing equipment is this action of MRV, or measurement, reporting, and verification. This shows the procedures we should follow for the issuance of JCM credit. VGEC also support this MRV process for participants. This is a table of applied technologies for each partner country. We divide this adding last year's new technologies. Based on the number of projects on this table, maximum financial support is limited. If proposed technology is the first one, the maximum financial support is 50% of total cost of project. They are blank cells in this chart. The rate goes down to 40% and 30% by the number of already applied technologies for each country. This is because the first one has the greatest impact in terms of diffusing of technology as it is newly introduced. This is a criterion of cost effectiveness, that is financial support versus amount of greenhouse gas emission reduction. We set this value less than 4,000 yen, about 30 US dollar. This acts as a ceiling of the budget for some project. Recently, there is a lot of proposals for certain technologies in some countries. If the number of applied technologies reaches 5 in a country, this value decreases to about 3,000 yen. And if the number exceeds 10, it diminishes to about 2,500 yen. And also, if the number reaches 20, the maximum value could be 2,000 yen. So, and this year, we added a guideline of this criterion for specific technologies of solar power and hydropower project. We set the value of them to 2,500 and 500 yen respectively to set suitable value based on the type of technologies. We consider this criterion important because we should dispatch limited budget effectively to as many projects as possible. We improve this scheme of JCM model project every year to accept variety of projects in many fields and business areas. JCM Eco-Risk scheme is one of this approach introduced in 2020, which is dedicated for leasing businesses to use this financial support conveniently. under the uniform finance support of 10% of project cost, which is lower than the general project. The merit of this scheme is shorter obligation period of monitoring and simple document to apply easily. Again, we improve the scheme to create more opportunities for many business partners to join. Let me explain about a newly added criterion, that is business and human rights. This is listed in evaluation criteria. We are expecting the representative participant as well as partner participant to make the best possible measures to respect human rights, such as introducing human rights due diligence process to have enough dialogue with stakeholders and have responsible in the supply chain of the procurement for introduction of appropriate products. For details, there is a booklet issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Japan of this URL. GC is promoting paperless action and digital transformation. This year, we introduced a new system that enables applicants to apply electronically via the internet. IT solutions contribute to make works effectively, and we hope the system enables participants to apply more easily and more conveniently. The second agenda. From here, I will introduce the result of selection of JCM model projects this year, which is still ongoing. In the tough situation of COVID-19, we are accepting many excellent projects. These are the projects for the first selection of this year. Project entity with red characters are newly selected participants. It is important to have a lot of participants for further expansion of the JCM model project. This is the result of second and third selection. Selection is ongoing, so please wait for the next selection result. Then I will briefly introduce about some of these projects. 3 projects, including this, from here, are solar power system in Chile. 6 megawatt solar power system will be installed on farmland in Maule and Nubule and provide power to grid. This thus reduces greenhouse gas emission by replacing part of grid electricity. 9 megawatt solar power system will be installed in Yungay, Biobío province and provide power to grid. Also 9 megawatt solar power system will be installed in Eno Maule and provide power to grid. Those 2 projects are organized by Eurus Energy Holdings as Japan's representative participant. And this is a guideline for solar power module project. The project is very popular in JCM model project. It counts the highest number among variety of proposed technologies. We welcome this renewable energy project as good energy source replacing fossil fuel. On the other hand, we need to confirm that proposed technology is advanced one. So we set the condition for photovoltaic module of its conversion rate from optical to electric energy to 20% or higher. Although a lot of solar power project has been selected, there is still room to increase total performance for these systems. One potential idea is to employ battery or accumulator in the system. In the JCM model project, so far only 2 projects are selected. We would like to promote this category by making conditions clear for participants applying this technology. These are the points we require for this technology. This project reduces energy consumption and emission of carbon dioxide by installing natural gas-fired high-efficiency one-through boiler in the factory where coal-fired boilers mainly have been used. So this equipment replaces such coal-fired boilers. One-through boiler could save energy greatly for its energy efficiency of almost 100%. And operating system for boilers could control appropriate number of machines due to varying demand. This type of boiler is now popular in Japan. We hope this project contributes to diffusion of this technology in factories in Chile. This is a combination system of rooftop solar power system and gas cogeneration system for the factory in Thailand. Generated power and steam are consumed in the factory. This high efficient system and renewable energy sources realize energy saving, stable energy supply. Cogeneration system is effective, especially for factory consuming good amount of heat. A 1.8 mega class organic Rankine cycle is applied to this project. And waste heat recovery power generation system is achieved by this technology and introduced to the flat glass manufacturing factory for self-consumption purpose. The system reduces greenhouse gas emission by substituting part of grid power consumption. This is 28 megawatt binary geothermal power plant project in the Philippines. There is good potential to introduce geothermal power plant for volcanic countries. This project installs 60 megawatt mini hydro power plant system in Vietnam. This type of project are applicable also in some area in Chile, I believe. This project is 20 megawatt biomass power plant in Vietnam to generate power by burning rice husks. There are still many cases of leaving husks from grain facilities that could be a cause of greenhouse gas. Instead, generating power using them in effective way for the reduction of greenhouse gas. I think this type of project has good potential to be implemented also in Chile. This project generates steam by introducing boiler powered by biomass mixed with biogas. These biofuels are provided from fruit processing factory. The project also can avoid methane emission by burning them properly. Then we'll move on to the project trend of JCM model project in total. This chart shows an accumulated number of projects by sector of energy saving, blue one, renewable energy, orange one, and others for all the model projects. By the pie chart on top, you can see that energy saving and renewable energy sectors dominate. As a recent trend, number of renewable energy projects has been increasing and it adds up to 100. In this renewable energy sector, photovoltaic system count the most of 74 projects equal to about 74%, which constantly proposed from early stage of the model project. The second count is mini hydro system, then biopower generation system. In this sector, these are wind power system and geothermal power generation system. So our renewable energy projects tend to contribute to mass reduction of greenhouse gas, and we anticipate to have more projects and welcome to add variation in this field. This chart shows all energy saving projects proposed till now. There is a lot of technologies selected for JCM model project. Most utility equipment are covered by technology proposed for the JCM model project. They are boiler, chiller, transformer, pump, air compressor, inverter, and so on. Also, it has air conditioning system and their controller LED lighting system for building. As for production line in factories, injection molding machine to mold plastic, aeration system for sewage, autoclave, looming machine, stranding machine to produce wire, equipment for corrugated carton, heat exchanger, and so on. The important point of this category is that they are effective in the industrial field and useful for factories. These projects save energy efficiently by minimizing the usage of power or heat and reduce energy cost. That is important and fascinating for management of factories or plant. Then let's move on to the project trend in Chile. This is a project summary sheet for Latin America. This area has 18 model projects. That is about 88% of the project in all partner countries. Among countries in Latin America, Chile dominates with the number of projects of more than 60%. And this is a trend chart by sector. You can see that renewable energy has been adding these years also in this region. This is the number of projects by year in Chile. All the projects in Chile are renewable energy sector, orange color. Other than rice husk power project selected in 2019, all the projects are solar power projects. To add more variation of technology, we continue to support to create new projects in other sectors such as energy efficiency, waste to energy, and transportation. So, conclusion of my presentation. In many areas, the technology of model project has been applied. Lighting in retail store, solar power system on shopping mall, heat pump in hotel, and variety production equipment in factories in industrial field. We have already introduced many systems for utility field, solar power system on reservoir, methane gas recovering system, rice husk power generation, waste to power generation, also in transportation area. As you can see with these pictures, JCM model project is effective for international promotion of infrastructures. So you have a lot of opportunity to make use of this model project to accelerate the reduction infrastructure in Chile. This shows representative participants for JCM model project. There are many Japanese companies taking part in this scheme, so you can refer to it for to have contact with Japanese participants. So COVID-19 have been imposing trying time to people in Japan, people in Chile, and everyone around the world. The JCM model project also have been affected by this pandemic. However, project participants try hard to complete their project on time, even in this pandemic. We support participants towards completion of their project successfully. It is true that COVID-19 limits us to some extent. However, we keep our activity going, not to let the action of greenhouse gas emission reduction for our precious environment. Now the sun is rising, I think. We're eager to visit Chile again for discussion, site inspection, or occasion like this seminar. So hopefully I can meet you all directly in Chile for the next moment. So I'm happy if my presentation helps you better understanding of the JCM model project. Thank you for your patience. Muchas gracias. ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, Mr. Takahashi, for the very comprehensive presentation on JCM model projects. Now we would like to go back to Mr. Juan Pedro Searle. If he is here, please turn on the camera and the microphone.
Yep.
Perfect. Hello.
Hi.
Buenos días. Good. Thank you very much. So we would like to have you on the screen to make a presentation on Chile's policy for decarbonization and expectations for JCM. You are from head of the climate change unit of the Ministry of Energy of Chile. Mr. Searle, you have the floor.
Okay, so thank you very much, Risa. I will
Do you have the presentation
share my
ready?
screen. Yeah, so I will share my screen.
Perfect.
I hope this is the one. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so would it be
If
okay
you can
if
make
I
it the presentation mode? Yeah.
Yeah. Would it be okay if I present in Spanish?
Yes.
And okay.
Yes, we have interpreted, but please speak clearly and slowly for them. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias. Muy contento.
Thank you very much. I am so happy to be here today in this seminar of JCM. As always, we have worked together with Japan. In this important initiative, the JCM today is so popular and it's growing a lot every day. So we're expecting the projects to keep growing, not only in numbers, but also in its dimension and scope. And what I'm gonna present now, there are some aspects of our procedure of decarbonization. I will be concentrated on the first system, or in the, let's say, like the most selective part of this. And at the end, I will talk about, or I will explain a little bit about our expectation about to our carbon or the GC project in this process in which we are involved as a ministry, as a country, and there are several ministries that are participating. And just to give you a little context in this energy sector and the scenarios we have had in terms not only about fulfilling with the fulfillment of the seminars, but also to reduce the emissions of the greenhouse by 2050. The inventory, the updated inventory for 2020 in the part of energy is that 77% of total emissions in the country. As you may see here in this slide, you will see how this is delegated. The responsibilities are delegated. The sector of generation of energy or electric generating power sector is 30% due to the combustion of carbon in natural gas. There is a mistake in the translation. I will correct that in my slide. Any type of transportation, especially private transportation, which is the most or I mean contributing with the emission, then mining and also the paper, cellulose, and also the waste sector and agriculture as well, we can see here. And as you may see also in the slide, we have in the energy, it is a huge challenge because as we said, there is up to 80% of the emissions are in nationwide level. This is a chart we have since 2019. This path, as you may see, is not only the energetic sector, is important in terms of reducing the emissions and also the local contaminants. This is so necessary, but also the forest sector. As you can see here, this is the path towards 2050, the half of the effort to make a reduction by 2050. This consumption should be coming by the capture of the forest sink. So what is the vision we have as Chile or as a participant? The idea is not to reach a situation in which we need to make a takeoff of the situation or when there is a moment where we cannot make a recovery. We need to make this takeoff where technology is not prevented, or in some sectors they are not preventing at all. This goal we have before 2050, as I mentioned before, is according to the applicable law. We have the climate law, which was approved in June this year, and apparently carbon rule. We also have a national contribution. It was made in the convention, and it's so interesting because it has three commitments. First of all, it's maximum reduction. As you can see here in this chart, this peak should be completed or succeed. We are about to implement this. We also have a budget of carbon by 2020 and 2050 with an instrument. It's a super interesting instrument according to the public policy, because this will allow us to correct the path in case we are projecting and not. And together with the progress of this implementation, we are achieving the goal and a complete or absolute reduction by 2030. It is a guarantee of emission reduction. It is a remarkable change in comparison to the previous stage where we didn't have an expectation. We also have let's say like a guideline according to the law. And this is it's for a long-term period. About how we are observing the decarbonization and the role of instruments such as the JCM. And it's so important to share this message not only with our colleagues from Japan, but also to all the attendees of this webinar, that in this climate strategy, there is a commitment from the energy sector with a very specific percentage. And it's so important because we can start selecting what type of actions we need to have as a sector. important as I'm going to see the ones we are doing to achieve this goal. And simply also to highlight that within the measures we have, what we need to do by 2050, renewable energy, core mobility. Chile is so solid in its goal to become one of the main stakeholders in the production of green hydrogen worldwide speaking. And there is also, currently, to share the message that within this route, we don't have enough clarity about the instruments or the price of the carbon per se. I mean, not particularly talking about from my position about the Article 6 of the regulation. I mean, this mechanism is promoting. So we need to understand also the role of this instrument because we want to participate in the carbon market, but also we need to fulfill with our goals of that will make us to achieve the results by 2050. Another remarkable point, and it's not described here because the actions are included already, is the exit or the output of carbon. It's a very important measurement that is having a voluntary action by different companies in Chile. And why is this so important, the carbon output? And this is so important because Gatilla practically, I mean, all the demand or all what we want to implement in case we want to produce local carbon, for sure it should be 100% renewable and clean before 2015. In Gatilla, for example, what we are doing when working with green hydrogen or the amplification or the installation in different parts in the engine or the copper industry, mining copper, or in industrial areas or electrical transportation. We want to electrify different uses at different types, for example, in AC or, I mean, this is so important. This measurement we are observing here in the country. Some scenarios we are considering from the process called TEL in Chile is the planning or the power planning according to the regulation. I mean, the ministry needs to make this clarification, especially in the transmission here. And here, what are the different scenarios we have? It is a scenario, it is like a slow recovery about the impact from COVID. It has been a slow economic recovery. We should work in the neutral power recovery and let's say an advanced progress before 2050. Here you can see the different percentages of electrification, the ones we need to have in terms of power consumption, and the ones that we are saying that the modules in Chile should be related to electrification directly or indirectly. And as you may know that the manner or the source of power should be a renewable power or a renewable source, just to avoid moving from one place to another. And it's also important to
we won't transfer a problem from one side to the other. So this planning process, long-term process, we must think about distributed generation and its role in decarbonization. The idea is to have energy generation close to the consumption sites and to take certain distributed energy technologies to places that are more isolated, that are separate from the electric network. This map is very interesting. It shows the technical potential of renewable energies in Chile. And as you can see here in this large number that we've shown here, this technical potential is an 80 times the installed capacity, the present installed capacity of renewable energy. Here you have different technologies and the potential, the necessary potential to get to this technical potential. This has many challenges. I'll mention some more to the end of my presentation, but one of the main challenges is that if we wanted to implement part of this potential beyond what we had before, we have to look at how to manage this with the territories, because the development of this is must be harmonic with the territories. We're talking about sustainable development. So the challenge here is, so this is a projection of renewable, variable renewable energy. Here you can see that getting more to 2050, what our aspiration is to have close to 80% renewable energy, variable renewable energy in the system. And we hope that this energy is supported by the storage systems that reduce almost zero this variability of renewable energies. And this must be accompanied by mobilization of how the electric system works with more digitization than we have right now. Also important for me to point out that there's a voluntary commitment signed in 2019 with the main companies of the main energy companies, and this is voluntary, and it's happening since June 2019 to October 2022. 8 generation plants, and in 2025 we expect that 13 additional plants may be withdrawn and 3 reconverted to other fuels, and all of these will represent close to 65% of the plants of carbon generation in Chile. Here you see the various units, the various areas of Chile, and we could be adding 1 additional plant this year, the plant Ventanas 2, that will depend on some actions that are being conducted regarding the work on the substation of Agua Santa. In this scheme, that there's no specific date, defined date for the plants that are about to leave the system. They are expected to leave before 2040. This is recent news that for the first time, wind and solar surpassed carbon this year by a small percentage, but super important to look at replacing carbon by renewable energies. So at this time, the ministry is producing a decarbonization plan to ensure that the chronogram of the centrals appears on time or even accelerates beyond what originally planned. And so it's important to make a parenthesis here to comment that originally the plan was divided in 2 stages. The first stage in 2024, and the first stage there would be 8 centrals. And as I showed in 2022, there can be 1 more central. It's even accelerating. But this in the bottom, everything that means decarbonization has different challenges that I will show right now. These are challenges that are being solved in this decarbonization plan. The first one, it has to do with technologies to handle the electric network better, with the idea that this energy transfer will take us to a modernization of the electric network. I won't go into detail because it's very electric. I'm not an electrical engineer, but what's interesting here, what's being looked at technologically, how we can migrate from one present system of how the electric system is to a future system where we can have better digitization, where we can have better technology, where we can use more automated technologies, reduce short circuits. Here we're talking about the electromagnetic phenomena versus the electromechanic phenomena that we have today, and the frequency with various technologies. So it's pretty interesting, and I understand that this wouldn't entail, in all cases of this modernization of the electric system, further costs. A great challenge is the incorporation of storage in our carbon neutrality plans. Here you can see this is key for the energy transition. We need to have a renewable energy portfolio that's operating 24/7 at all times. So here you have different types of technology, and you can increase and we can increase our storage capacity and our capacity to handle energy related to the various hours that we want to increase our storage capacity. We have solar power concentration. We've thought about the hydraulic pumping. In fact, some centrals that I just mentioned in the output diagram that I just showed will be the transition to batteries, because hydrogen, compressed air, etc. These are all technologies that we want to implement, and probably through JCM, we would think about an important portfolio that we could implement in this context. And the third challenge is the electric transmission systems transition. If we want to triple our installed capacity for renewable energy and inject it into the network, we need to more optimum transmission system, and there you have a series of areas in terms of optimization technology of the transmission system, measures to reinforce the system, and measures to reinforce the system not only nationwide, more smaller scale, at a more smaller scale. This is I would finish with this. These are, in our judgment, the key elements in this decarbonization. First, regulation associated to greenhouse gas emissions. And we have our framework law for climate change that establishes maximum limits for greenhouse gas emissions. We have to promote various technologies to reach this carbon neutrality and reach an energy system that is resilient, safe, and that brings clean energy, storage, biofuel, green hydrogen, renewable energies, or everything that has to do with infrastructure and modernization through the operation of the electric system. Obviously, the international commitments, Chile took very seriously the commitments they signed, and particularly the Agreement of Paris. Right now, we are producing the fifth update report. We updated the NEC, as I mentioned, an NEC that is much more ambitious. And now we are in a whole internal coordination amongst the various ministries to see how to implement all the commitments that are in our climate change law that are associated to the fulfillment of the Paris Agreement. The incentive is the transition, and here the economic instruments that are in the law may be important. Article 6, we think about it as an instrument that could provide a lot, not only to accelerate our energy transition, but also implement the technologies that today appear more costly, the high-hanging fruits. And JCM has an important role here. We have high expectations that JCM will provide some to some segments of our decarbonization. We must obviously promote and accelerate the necessary investments, not only in projects, in renewable energy projects, but also all the infrastructure that I mentioned for transmission.
Sociedades, ¿no es cierto?, público-privadas o asociaciones público-privadas.
Encourage public-private associations, accelerate the approval of projects if we want to inject much more renewable energies into the system. But also this has to be done in a context of social acceptance. And when we talk about social acceptance, It's that we shouldn't think that everyone agrees with decarbonization as follows. If I feel in a certain community, maybe I don't want technology to be installed and wind technology to be installed because that will disrupt not only the homes, the landscape, etc. So we have to be careful on how to establish this accelerated transition with social acceptance, a fair transition. That is an essential part of this transition, and obviously a concern in terms of the territory. At the beginning, I mentioned harmonic development with the territory and a conversation, day-by-day conversation with the communities to facilitate acceptance of these transformation changes that we need to have at different levels. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much, JCM, for inviting us to be part of this seminar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Serle. Thank you for the for introducing us the Chilean policy and giving us some future perspectives. We have some questions in the Q&A feature, so if you can respond to it, because it's in Spanish, you can respond to it while you are waiting for the Q&A session. Yes?
Okay, so
that's you can respond to it by text, and we'll have a Q&A session after we have another presentation. Okay.
So I'm trying to, so where are the questions? So, because I'm
you can go down to Q&A.
Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But you can do it right now, and after that we have a Q&A session. Okay. So for now we have another presentation.
I'll answer them
in writing.
In writing. Okay.
Yes. Gracias.
Okay. Then
okay, so we are moving on to the next presentation. The next presentation will be Introduction of JCM Global Match by Ms. Akiko Ishikawa. She's manager of the Financing Program Group in Tokyo office of Global Environment Center Foundation. Unfortunately, Ms. Ishikawa is not with us today, but we have a video presentation, so we will be able to play it for you. Mr. Serle, you can turn off the camera now and the microphone. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Buenos dias. I'm Akiko from GEC. I'd like to explain briefly what you can do at our business matching site called JCM Global Match. Let me share my slide. JCM Global Match is a free service for all companies around the world. It has many registered users who engaged in decarbonizing business from more than 40 countries. The first step to use JCM Global Match is to create your account by registration. After that, you can do 3 things at the site. These are to find, advertise, and discuss. When you apply for JCM model project, it is mandatory to form an international consortium. And a consortium must consist of at least 1 Japanese entity and 1 partner country entity. So it is essential to find your partner company in the counterpart country. JCM Global Match site will be a big help to you in this step. Now I will explain 3 features: find, advertise, and discuss in more details. Number 1, you can find potential business partners in the site and contact them directly. One way to find your partner is to search for them. At the top of the page, you can always see a word search window. Please put in any word you may be interested in, like biomass, hydrogen, Chile, specific company name, and so on. Let me share another way to find a potential partner. It is the list. You can obtain company lists from the menu bar and 4 picture banners at the top page. Each of the 4 banners represents one of the company categories. These are Japanese enterprises, partner country enterprises, consultants and public sectors or financiers. While browsing the list, you may find some persons interesting. When you find such a person, press the matching request button to send a message. If approved by that person, you will be able to contact him or her directly on the platform. You also obtain his or her email address. Now I will explain the second advantage of JCM Global Match. You can advertise your company at the site. In order to advertise your company efficiently, your account information needs to be seen or read by many of your potential partners. So please fill in the registration form and show attractive information about your company, products, and services. The key place to fill and show your information is specialties. It is the additional information card that you can create after registration. The button to make your specialty card is on the top page. Here is the image of the top page. The button is blue one circled with a yellow oval. By creating your specialty card, your company information will show up in the list on the top page. It will also be displayed in the list under the specialties button on the menu bar. Another way to advertise your products and services is to enter into open discussion, a chat room for all users. Any topics will be welcomed here as long as it is related to decarbonization business. Be sure to make an attractive and concise title. When you post a topic there, we are happy to let all registrants know it by mail magazines. The third thing you can do is to discuss. You can discuss your business plan and a variety of topics with other users at this platform. As I mentioned, you can discuss your business plan in the open discussion chat room. In addition, you can communicate with other users at an invitation salon too. Invitation salon is a private chat room with limited users you chose and invited. After discussing here, you may shift to direct communication by exchanging emails. For more details, please visit the JCM Global Match site and see the pages under the How to Use button in the menu bar. You can also ask us anything via inquiry form on the right side of menu bar. We are waiting for your contact. Thank you for listening. Muchas gracias. See you next time on the JCM Global Match site.
All right, so we would like to now have a Q&A session for this session. Could we have Mr. Shigematsu on the screen? We have a question for you from the Secretariat. Okay, so are you, or is the minister considering adding new technologies covered by the JCM in the future?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So yeah, when we talk with the Japanese private companies, so there is an emerging interest on the new technology, such as the wind power or green hydrogen or CCS or CCU. So I think those areas have some potential to be added in the future for the JCM model project, but we should consider that those projects should reduce the GHG emission derived from the fossil fuel combustion. Also, the emission reduction from those projects should be contribute to achieve the national determined contribution NDC for both Japan and partner countries. So yeah, we are seeking any opportunity to add more new technology for JCM.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I hope this information was helpful. Now, could we have Mr. Searle back on the screen? Thank you, Mr. Shigematsu. Could we have Mr. Searle, Senor Searle, back on the screen if you're still with us?
I am, yeah.
Hi, thank you for
Hi.
you answered some of the questions already, but
Yeah,
we
I'm trying to.
Thank you. But we have a question for you from our side as well. Just one question.
Okay. Yeah.
What are the technologies you especially expect in the JCM model projects for Chile? And tell us why.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I saw that question before. So, I mean, it's difficult to pinpoint one specific technology, but as you saw there, of course, energy storage is one of the main ones. You saw this chart in terms of how coal phase out will trigger a number of measures in different sectors, in different end use sectors like mining, industry, electrification. So technology in particular, I'm not in a position to say so, but if you look at the one of the slides in terms of the transmission, needs that we have now and that we need to be changing in the future. So there's a lot of technology associated with digitalization of the system. Yeah, I don't know if I cover your question or not, but it's
not one in particular, but
right,
but creative ideas are welcome.
Right, but we also have I didn't show it here, but we also have mitigation cost curve, action cost curve, and you will see there. I can send it to you already, and then we have there also a very detailed array of different measures. Some of them are negative in terms of cost, but others are more costlier. And I think it's a good way of trying to think how the JCM could fit into those more detailed measures. And I also saw the presentation of a previous expert colleague, and of course some of those areas are of interest to us. Green hydrogen, one of them. Blending, also blending fuels. Tiny coal, use more ammonia, for instance. I know that Japan has a lot of work on that part. But we can chat further and to see where the JCM can fit. And my main message, and I think I said it before also in previous webinars of the JCM, is that we're very happy because we're working pretty well and coordinated. Nevertheless, the project are very small in terms of its impact or their impact. So what we would like to see is the JCM trying to help us in probably larger projects. I don't know. So that could be something to be explored bilaterally.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I hope this information is helpful for the private sector and giving them inspiration. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Searle. We would like to ask also Takahashi-san, Mr. Takahashi.
Yes.
Okay, so so this question is a bit specific, but it's from us. When applying for JCM model projects, is it necessary to complete obtaining all permits and licenses for the projects?
Okay, thank you for the question and asking me. And when the selection, it is possible. When the selection, it is possible if there is a case that all permit or license is not obtained. So, but we need to make sure that the project could finish surely if we select So they need to show us how it is certain by a MOU or LOI or such document if they need to have a requirement or permission.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a specific question. Another question for you, Mr. Takahashi. What should I do if I want to consult about applying for the JCM model project?
Okay. So I think that JCM Global Match by Ms. Ishikawa presented is quite helpful to make or establish a connection between company in Chile and partner participant in Japan. So a company is in partner country don't always have good connection to the business corresponding or cooperating with Japanese participants. So please make use of it. And for the application, we would like to select a good project. It is important to have a good financial plan other than the part of grant by JCM provided by what project they get. And make sure to have good method about how to reduce greenhouse gas emission. And also a schedule plan for finalizing the project in regulated year. So please be noted about that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Takahashi. And yes, everyone, please check out Global Match. Okay, so I think we have all asked all the questions we wanted to. We would like to move on to session 3 now. Session 3 is about JCM implementation in Chile. Let us welcome our first presenter, Mr. Javier Lorenzo Campos Cárcamo. If he's here, could you turn on the video? Yes. Wonderful. Hello. So he's CEO of Farm-to Energy Chile, SPA. He will give us a presentation about their solar power projects utilizing farmland in Chile. Thank you. You have the floor.
Okay. Thank you very much for all. Good morning for the people here in Chile and good night for you in Japan. Let me share my screen. Have you seen my screen?
Yes, we can see it, but if you can click on the presentation, yeah, that's perfect. Yes, okay. We can see.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity to explain our project. And excuse me, I will speak in Spanish if don't have problem.
Yes.
Muchas gracias por la invitación.
Thank you for the invitation. I get to this webinar and to explain how FAMDO in Chile has worked with the system of the JCM and how it's implemented some projects. First, FAMDO in Chile is a company or Chilean-Japanese consortium formed by farmland companies, 70% Japan. The chairman is Masayuki Shiwai, and Land IC 30%, Land and Sea 30% that I represent. We work in Japan with our director. And here in Chile by Joaquin Campos and Vicente Pizarro. The objective of the company was the introduction of solar farming in Chile. It's a concept, a very new concept in Japan, little known, in Chile, very new. And that's what we're working on. At the time, the company has worked on 2 3 megawatts projects and 2 in a building of 300 kilos, and one solar farm that our grand pilot that I'll tell you about it of 20 kilos. And we are also building one more project that right now of 3 megawatts and 2 more projects until 2024. These are projects, 3 megawatts projects that are other than solar farm. That is our objective as a company. The sale of energy of these 5 projects of NGV projects is around $1.7 to $2 million. What's projected, and with a reduction of a carbon reduction of 12,000 tons of CO2 per year. So one of the partners of the company of FarmDo in Chile is the FarmDo group in Japan. It's a group that's constituted by 3 companies. A first company that has activity in retail, in sale of agricultural products related to production of clean production, clean generation, solar powered, and production on their surface that is also devoted to solar. After that, a company that is called Farmland is a company devoted to renewable energy projects, mainly solar, and it has 120 megawatts of installed capacity in Japan and 13.4 megawatts of installed capacity outside Japan, in Mongolia, and what we mentioned here in Chile.
Farm Club, que es una compañía dedicada a la producción de productos agrícolas.
Another company that is Farm Club, the company devoted to agriculture with energy production through solar greenhouses or production on their solar panels in the solar structure. About the Chilean partner, that is us. It's a company established in 2017, specialized in development of projects of renewable energy, devoted change in Chile, and we hope in some neighboring countries of the region. A young company, very dynamic company. One side we did it ourselves, and a good part, all our activity, we externalized it, and we have very good partners with whom we work in the legal side, in permits, in the search of land. We are a team of 8 people right now, but with all the team that external team that we work with, it's a larger group committed to work throughout the year. The portfolio of products of the energy in Chile is in this first stage. We are moving to the second stage of projects. Is around 18 projects in various stages, some already built, injecting energy, and others in process of construction, for a total of 140 megawatts for this first stage. About FarmDo Energy Chile, the company, the Japanese consortium is this percentage. With this percentage in this slide, we can see the various stages. If you see to the left, that below the first project, 3 megawatts, 400 kilometers to the south of Santiago. Santiago is the capital of Chile, to the south. And it's a project, a 3 megawatts project, connected since June 2021. A second stage, that is a project in San Antonio, in the coast of Santiago, of 100 kilometers. This project, in addition, goes hand in hand with a net billing project for the producer, for the agriculture, or the grower, for a project that is called Malvilla. And in addition to that, right now, together with INEA, we started the development of the first solar farm, that is this pilot plant that I'll mention a little more in a couple of slides. The third stage that we are right now beginning, is the construction, if you see to the center, the phase 3 project, which is the construction of a third project in Cauquenes, 300 kilometers to the south of Santiago, more to the coast, and stage 4, which is the construction of 2 projects. If you see to the left, to the right, below, another in Chilean, Vicente Mendez. It's the name of the projects, the names of the projects and the regions where they are. This is the first project that I said that is connected Guape in Chillán, 400 kilometers to the south, connected since June 2021, injecting energy from back then. This project forms according to the estimations of production of energy production in the softwares that we use. I had projected a production of 5,900 megawatts hour per year. However, in this first year, because of the adjustment and the radiation, basically, it's had lower generation around 6-7% with 5,000 megawatts hour per year.
El segundo proyecto que está terminado
The
ya,
second project that is already finished and awaiting connection, we should connect it in these few months. We expect very soon before the year ends to have the project connected. This is the one that is in the area of San Antonio, of 100 kilometers towards the coast of the capital of Chile, of Santiago. And this project goes hand in hand with Net Billing 2, the owner that we've supported. We've collaborated with the construction. This project of San Antonio, Malvilla is called, San Antonio Malvilla, it has projected as in the estimations of energy production around 5,990 megawatt hour. So we expect that to change as we do the injection in the upcoming months. About what we mentioned before of solar farm, the solar farm in 2020, when we started the joint venture between Farmland Japan and the Chilean company, we received the visit of the chairman of the company, Iwai-san, with the director, Mr. Murota-san. And that time we met with the Minister of Agriculture, at the time, and we told him about this project, and they suggested if we could have a development that could help us collect all the benefits that this project, the solar farm, could have, agricultural power associated to energy production with the dual income for the producer of the energy. And that's what we did. We had contact with the National Institute of Agricultural. This is a private institution. It depends on the Ministry of Agriculture. And it has a very good relationship with INTAP, which is the way we could disseminate this project. And we have a plan, a pretty ambitious plan, which is being able to have 100 solar farms from today to year 2030. We've implemented a project, a pilot project in San Javier. Showed it here in the slide, 300 kilometers to the south, 250 kilometers to the south of Santiago, where there's an installation of INEA, which is an experimental center. And that experimental center, we built this project, 20 kilos project, together with INEA. And it's already injecting energy. We connected around 30 days before. So we are in the initial stage testing, and we will initiate, along with INEA, a development project with crops. I'll show you next. I'll show it in this slide what the idea is. In the year 2022, right now, we've connected this first project, pilot first project with the INEA in San Javier. And we expect to commence a second development and research project with INEA that will approve the production of cranberries and tortillas under solar panels. And this will be by INEA. It's a research and development program to 3 years. And the idea is that once we have results on a yearly basis, in 2023, we expect to have the first results that would be to the crop of the crops of April, May, the year 2024. We want to then have these results that will allow us to have conclusions. And as a stage 3, to have hard information on having some solid arguments that will allow us to notify agricultures and interested parties and the authorities that are the reasons why we've wanted to do it with INEA in such a way that we can reach towards 2030, as I mentioned, 100 facilities, either greenhouses or solar farms in Chile and also in countries of the region. That is all on my part. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Campos. It was a very informative presentation. Now we would like to move on to the next presentation. Mr. Tetsuya Saito. He's the manager of the International Environment Department of Consulting Operations Headquarters of Nippon Koei Company Limited. He will give us a presentation on project development in Chile. Mr. Saito, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Kikuchi. So I'd like to present my presentation, just a moment. Yeah, titled Project Development in Chile. So I'm a consultant belongs to a company called Nippon Koei. We are the Japanese largest international engineering consultants, and we have been working in many sectors all over the world. And especially with regard to JCM, we believe that we are one of the the most supportive consultant for this scheme. We have developed the very first JCM project in the world, which was in Indonesia. And we also supported many new technologies to be brought into the JCM scheme, including geothermal, organic ranking cycle, microgrids, and chemical plant, this kind of thing. And also we have experience in supporting the largest means the maximum subsidy projects. And also we are currently trying to develop projects related to hydrogen, CCUS, biomass, these kind of things. And also we started, I will briefly explain later, but we also supported to develop first city-to-city project supported by Ministry of the Environment Japan in LATAM region. And we have principally worked in most of the JCM partner countries, and we have the experience in developing projects in many countries. And we are supporting like the project study, project formulation, and methodology development, and also MLB supporting. So we do support every steps of the JCM project development. Then, for example, what we supported to develop in Chile. Actually, we also closely worked with the initial projects of the farmland. Like Mr. Javier Campos explained, I really actually liked the idea of the solar farm. And I believe that kind of the combination technology between the not only the solar power, but also with the agricultural practice will contribute very much to the Chilean future. And then it also contribute to the adaptation to the climate changes. Then we also supported another project, only one project, which is not solar PV in Chile, which is a 3.4 megawatt rice husk power. These we developed together with the Chilean side project participant called Agroria, and then we supported to find a Japanese partner for them called Asian Gateway Corporation to develop this project as a JCM project. And this contributes, of course, to the renewable energy. And also this will contribute to the waste management because the previously rice husk was not really utilized and it was just waste. Then now it will soon become an energy source. And also this plant utilizes the organic ranking cycle technology, which needs significantly lower water consumption. So in the area like in Maule, which is facing the precipitation decrease, this kind of new technology, which might be a bit more expensive, can be subsidized for the better solution. Then this is the example in another country in Latam, Mexico, and we supported one of the tequila giant called Company Salsa, then to introduce the one through boiler, which is more high in efficiency. And then they also changed the fuel from oil to natural gas. Then next point, I would like to briefly touch how we should develop project in Chile. Then first point is the important industry. So of course, the mining industry is a very important part of the Chilean economy. And these mining giants are also the very good promoter of the green development. So like green copper, lithium production, and this technology, we would like to contribute to decarbonize this big industry. And then, of course, the food and beverage and agricultural sectors are also important. Then we understand the cold chain, wastewater treatment, and utilization of biogas, and also the some part of the glass production can be the target of the energy efficient and also renewable energy projects. Then second point, of course, the energy related policies are also very important. I just added the climate change framework law after I listened to the opening remarks of Miss Jenny. And then, of course, these renewable energy targets, coal phasing out, hydrogen strategies, and I believe that you are one of the leader for decarbonization in Latam and even in the world. So we would like to, through this JCM instrument, we want to try to contribute to speed up your interest. And here, especially I just highlighted one important thing, the trend is a race to zero. So that is, as many of you may know already, this is the initiative started by the United Nations, and it was really a big momentum. It had a big momentum in the previous COP. And then we are working under the scheme called the City to City Cooperation. We are working closely with the Renca municipality in Santiago through the partnership between Renca municipality and Toyama City in Japan. So the Toyama City is very famous for the promoting SDGs and also the low carbon, zero carbon development. And then through the communication between these two local governments, we are trying to promote the zero carbon development as well as the achievement of SDGs. So we are trying to formulate projects from the viewpoint of environment value, social value, and economic value in accordance with the SDGs concept. And we just submitted together with the local government and also the company in Renka municipality. We just submitted 2 projects idea as a JCM model projects to Global Environmental Center for to be selected. Of course, it will be assessed soon, and then if it is successful, we will support to implement the solar PV installation projects for Renka municipality itself, as well as the one company in Renka municipality region. Then we also work with the Renka municipality to reach to achieve the SDGs targets with our digital or transforming concept. So Nippon Koei, our company itself has developed one visualization tool to assess the SDGs approach by the local government. This system is called Tsumugi, and this will help visualizing the understanding and the approach of the approach towards SDGs by the local governments. So through this kind of practice, we are also supporting Renka municipality for the better understanding of the SDGs. Then other than that, regarding environmental concerns, we understand lay REP is also very important policy, and also refrigerant has to be also well treated, and air pollution is one of the issues. And then here I put the burning of the agricultural waste is sometimes problem, and the JCM project just I mentioned about rice husk energy generation will contribute to the improvement of this. Then finally, these are the some tips for making feasible JCM projects. So firstly, as many others, many other gentlemen already explained, I think firstly, greenhouse gas emission reduction from energy source have to be there to develop JCM project. And then next point is how to calculate the maximum subsidy amount. And then these are the very simple formula, smallest among the GHG reduction multiplied by $27 at this moment, or this is actually 4,000 yen. And then, as you may know, that currently Japanese yen is quite weak, so not really favorable in terms of the US dollar, but it is like this at this moment. Then, or the 50%, or if it is many more projects already, then minimum 30% of the cost of the core technology to reduce CO2 emission. Then, or the $13.7 million US per project will apply. So the smallest among these figures can be the maximum subsidy amount for the one project. And then to calculate the emission reduction, there is a rule for setting the emission factor. So these emission factor will will be utilized for each technology for the energy saving and renewable energy. And then, of course, in accordance with the grid, central national grid, Isen grid, and Magallanes grid, you have the different emission factor. Then again, another important point is partnering with the Japanese companies, very important. Then again, the scheduling is also very important. This year's proposal window will be closing very soon by the end of November. So maybe practically the next chance would be the next financial year of Japan. So starting from April and usually up to October or November. Then after it is selected, the actual project implementation, including the contract or purchase order or whatever official transaction, can be only started after the official selection, official contract between the Japanese company, Japanese representative participant, and the Japanese side. Japanese government. Then earliest September, October 2023 would be that timing. Then this project is have to be completed within the 3 financial years in Japan. So to develop this kind of JCM projects, so Nippon Koei can do many supports. So if you have any interest, just please communicate with us because we have already contract with the Ministry of the Environment to support this JCM project development. So these initial supports will be mostly free of charge for your side. And then sometimes in the end, if you have further requests, of course, sometimes we have to negotiate. But basically speaking, this will be covered by this support will be covered by the Ministry of the Environment, Japan. Then this is the information we require when we discuss with you if your project sounds to be feasible or not. So the basic project information, type of the greenhouse gas reduction, calculation of CO2 reduction, then up to the process project steps, which permissions you already acquire or that kind of thing. And if you have already a potential Japanese partner or any relationship, and also the schedule. So these are the basic information we need to start the consultation. So, and also there will be other scheme which can go together with this JCM model projects. For example, like the city-to-city collaboration, just I mentioned, and co-innovation and hydrogen. This scheme will be continued next year, and detail is not really published yet, but we are expecting the similar scheme will be continued. And then other financial organizations from the Japanese side are also available, like JOIN, METI, NEDO, and JBIC. So if you need any financial sources, please also consult with us. Then this is the photo from the Toyama city, which I believe that this has a strong similarity with Santiago view. Okay, so and I myself will visit Chile during next month. The date is to be fixed later, but I'm really I think be there in November, and sometimes also next year during January, March. So if you are interested, please feel free to send email to me and also to our business partner, Sherpas Group, Mr. Gonzalo Diaz, for setting the meeting. And also I will be very happy to see you directly in Chile. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saito. Another very comprehensive presentation. We would like to start Q&A for this session. First, we would like to have Mr. Campos back on the screen, if he could, to ask you a question. Mr. Campos? Hello. So we will be asking you a question in English, but you can answer in Spanish or English, whichever you like. Okay? What from our side, from the secretariat side, you have an extensive experience in implementing JCM model projects. So we would like to ask you, what was the most difficult point in implementing a JCM model project so far, and how did you overcome the challenge, if there were any?
Diría que, bueno,
I will say we have the support for the selection, as Mr. Seito mentioned. I mean, they were such a huge support. So thank you so much. And concerning the implementation, currently, something that was put in a term, the JCM as a program, sometimes it is a short time or short term in concerning construction and engineering, and to comply with that, sometimes it's hard to get the outcome. However, it has a positive aspect because it is obliging us to organize the project and to work based on a structure. On the one hand, it's complicated, but on the other hand, is making us to work properly. And what I will say particularly, and it's a very punctual way, is that during the last 2 years, I mean, during the period we make the implementation, we made the selection, and I mean, we built the 2 programs. It was during the pandemic. So from the logistics and operation perspective, we have certain constraints and we need to sort out this. And I mean, it has happened to all the world, but I would say that it had an impact on us. But I mean, we succeed.
This information was helpful for people who are thinking of applying for JCM. Okay, so we would like to have now Mr. Saito on the screen. Thank you, Mr. Campos. So we would like to have Mr. Saito on the screen. And okay, so we would like to ask you a question too. So what do you think are some of promising technologies to be introduced in Chile under the JCM scheme in the near future, please tell us the technologies and tell us why you think. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the first one thing I feel it's missing is wind. So of course the wind potential in Chile is huge, while the renewable energy project already developed mostly solar at this moment. So I really would like to develop at least a few wind projects first. Then together with that, I understand among the JCM partner countries, I understand that Chile commits much more stronger for the hydrogen future. So of course, for the model project itself, it's not really the best scheme to support hydrogen projects, but still Ministry of the Environment and also the Global Environmental Center Foundation supports some other schemes which can support hydrogen projects. So I really would like to contribute to the hydrogen projects, especially for the transport sector and future blending sector like that, including CCUS.
Thank you. Are there any of those technologies you mentioned just now? Are there any technology that are in development now in Chile, if you can tell us?
Yeah, thank you very much. So through the city-to-city collaboration projects and also through this Ministry of the Environment Japan supports, I'm talking with a few Chilean companies to develop these hydrogen and CCUS. These are different potential companies, and in many regions, not only in Santiago, or not only in North. It will be also the diverse location as well.
Thank you very much. I hope this information was helpful as well. Thank you, Mr. Saito.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we would like to close the Q&A session. We thank all the speakers for the informative presentation. We are going to move on to the closing remarks. We would like to welcome Mr. Yuji Kimura. He's the Executive Director and Head of Tokyo Office of Global Environment Center Foundation. Kimura-san, you have the floor.
Thank you for your introduction. Buenos dias and good evening, everybody. I'm Yuji Kimura from Global Environment Center Foundation. On behalf of the organizers, I would like to say a few words as a closing address. First, we deeply appreciate all of you for participating in today's seminar. We are also very grateful for the kind cooperation by the government of Chile. With their cooperation, we were able to hold this seminar successfully. We have held JCM seminars in Chile every fiscal year, and today's seminar is the fourth one. Through those seminars, we have created opportunities for people in Chile to learn and deepen their understanding about the JCM financing program. This year, following the last year, due to the influence of coronavirus, we held the seminar in a webinar format, but thanks to you, we were able to have a lot of participants today. For today's seminar, we have chosen accelerating the transition towards decarbonization through JCM as the main theme because of the recent rapid development towards decarbonized society worldwide, including Chile and Japan. Chile's policies are to achieve carbon neutrality before the year 2050 through accelerating the introduction of renewable energy, electric transport, and green hydrogen, and the improvement of energy efficiency, as well as making the most of forest sink. It is also planned to phase out coal-fired power plants. In Japan, the government has established its GHG emission target as 46% reduction by the year 2030. It has also declared to achieve carbon neutral society by the year 2050. These developments were presented by the representatives from the Ministry of Energy of Chile and the Ministry of the Environment Japan in today's seminar. In achieving these national targets and goals, the cooperation between Japan and Chile is becoming much more important than before. JCM is one of the effective measures to realize it, and high expectations are expressed by both governments' representatives. Last year's COP26 successfully agreed on various remaining issues, one of which is a set of rules for market mechanism under Paris Agreement. JCM is one of the leading models of voluntary approach under the category of market mechanism, and the COP's agreement has given a concrete basis for JCM. After COP26, the Japanese government set a goal to increase the number of JCM partner countries up to approximately 30. We are now entering the phase of accelerating our efforts to develop more JCM projects and contributing to GHG reductions nationally and globally. From this point of view, in today's seminar, we have tried to give you the detailed information on how JCM model projects are proposed, selected, and advanced toward the project completion. Chile has the largest number of JCM model projects in the Latin American countries. From those projects, we picked up a set of promising JCM renewable energy projects. Farm to Energy Chile, the participant company of these projects, showed us the clear image of the projects, including the combination of the introduction of solar power and the promotion of agricultural activities, which is unique to them. It is important to formulate JCM model projects in ways to contribute to national and local policies and needs. Nippon Koei, which is one of the co-organizers of today's seminar, and has been actively in formulating JCM model projects in Chile, shared us valuable lessons learned through their activities. JCM has a great potential to promote the introduction and dissemination of a variety of decarbonizing technologies and contribute to combating climate change, as well as achieving sustainable development goals in Chile. I hope this seminar has provided all the participants with the opportunity to know and utilize JCM. We are assisting companies which are interested in JCM through individual consultation. In addition, our JCM Global Match provides opportunities for various companies interested in JCM to find each other and formulate JCM projects together. We hope today's participants will actively use these opportunities. We are planning to hold webinars for other partner countries, so we would appreciate it if you could join us again. Finally, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to all the speakers for their excellent contribution. Thank you very much, and muchas gracias.
Thank you, Kimura-san. And many thanks again to all the speakers for their excellent presentations. We certainly hope it was insightful for all of our attendants as well. If you have any questions that were not answered today, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're always happy and available to answer your questions and provide guidance. We'd also like to thank the Government of Chile, Ministries of Environment, Energy, and Foreign Affairs of Chile, Ministry of the Environment of Japan, as well as Nippon Koei for co-organizing today's event. Once again, I'd like to remind you to please take a moment to answer the questionnaire that will pop up on your web browser when you exit the webinar. Thank you for your participation, and we look forward to the next opportunity. Gracias y adiós.